Hi everyone, we're back and today we're going to talk about our first thoughts about the 7th Sea setting. And Ryan is back as well.
Yep, I'm back and excited and new glasses and my beard got trimmed and I'm wearing clothes from this century. And the alien pod that keeps the original human Ryan is completely safe and undiscovered in the basement. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about 7th Sea.
So we just started a new campaign in the 7th Sea setting, which is the latest version of 7th Sea by John Wick. And you may remember Tucker, who's been kind of our longtime GM, and he's appeared in a couple of videos. He's running the campaign, and also a friend of ours, Matt. 7th Sea is described as a swashbuckling and sorcery adventure setting.
Swashbuckling and sorcery adventure setting!
It's set in an alternate, essentially Europe. All of the countries are inspired by 17th century literature, so they're kind of the extreme version of each country.
Dawn is playing a character from the Germany stand-in, which is called Eisen, and I am from an area that is essentially Eastern Europe, not quite Russia, but sort of has very much that feel to it. Dawn's going to tell you a little bit about character creation, but something that I think is really cool, and honestly I struggled with a little bit during character creation and even our very first session, is this game is designed to be played from the point of view of the hero. You are a good guy or good woman. You always make, ultimately, the right choice. You'll always save the child, you'll always help the orphan, you'll always rescue the princess and not demand a reward. And that doesn't lock you in. It doesn't mean you have to play stereotypical paladin sort of ha-ha, it is for the good of the land type characters. But I actually really like having that as sort of a guiding light, that we always make the right choice. We cut our teeth on Shadowrun for a long time, and we love that system. Pause so you can go check out some of our Shadowrun reviews. But ultimately, those systems usually are, you're playing a bad person. A bad person trying to do the best that they can. But something I really like about 7th Sea is that you're a good guy. And that's kind of a refreshing change in the RPG landscape right now.
When it comes to like the mechanics of making your character, in some ways it's fairly simple because you have a handful of kind of basic stats of like wit and brawn and panache and a few others. And then you also have skills like aim. And it is nice because aim applies to any weapon that you'd aim. It's a crossbow, a gun,
a cannon, harpoons, any of that kind of stuff.
And then there are different additional things that you can add onto your character that will, qualities and stuff like that, that will affect those skills, and you might be able to specialize.
You don't have to write any numbers down. The entire character sheet is essentially one big Scantron. You fill in bubbles, you take a quick glance down, that tells you how many dice you roll, you only use D10. You're gonna need quite a few of them. We are brand new characters, and I think I had one moment where I needed to roll 11 D10 in order to figure out the scenario that we were playing. It was a dramatic sequence. Everything is broken down into either action sequences or dramatic sequences, which is really cool when we get to that part. When we were creating our character, one thing that was a little bit difficult for me, something that I thought was tedious, is that there is a lot of information in the book about each individual country, and that's great. It allows you to make a very rich and complete and detailed character. But there's a lot of different countries, and so when I sat down and read through every single one of them, by the time I was on the 4th country, I couldn't remember Avalon, which was the first one that I'd read anymore. So I actually ended up skipping to the cheat sheet that they include with the book, which is great, but it was just some of the bare bones basics about each country, and then I picked a character based off of that. The book is fine. All of the information is there, and if you can search for it on your tablet or if you can just use the index, you'll find it, but it's not the best laid out book, and there is a lot of information for some things, and then there's other things that it just mentions once with very little detail. Those are good things because like I said, it lets you build a really detailed and rich character, and then the stuff that's just barely mentioned, you can figure it out with your GM. But at the same time, every once in a while I found it frustrating because I couldn't find what I was looking for because it was buried somewhere that I didn't expect. It's a great wealth of information, but sometimes it's a little overwhelming.
One of the things I really like about this system is that you basically either have dramatic scenes or action combat sequences, and the mechanics are the same for both. So the way that it works, either action or dramatic, is that the GM lays out what the scene is, and then we as players tell the GM, this is what I want to accomplish and this is how I want to go about doing it. The GM tells us what trait and skill, as well as any additional dice that we get to roll. Then we move into the actual role playing. And one of the things I really like is the game mechanics reward storytelling. So if you come up with a really interesting way to go about getting what you want done in the scene, or you describe it in really great detail, the GM can give you a bonus die for that storytelling.
And the game does talk about, by really great detail, it's not just being really long-winded and talking forever, but talking about things in creative and unique and cinematic ways is what it's looking for. And it's nice because it takes the rolling out of it. The rolling gets done really early and everything stays very smooth, and you either concentrate on the exact wording of the role play, or you can concentrate on describing the feel of what you want, and then you just use the dice that are already there in front of you.
The way the system is set up and the way it's described, the type of games that you're probably going to play with it, you're going to have just as many, if not more, dramatic scenes as action scenes. And I think that's cool. It encourages the role-playing. It encourages that storytelling aspect.
Both Don and I played characters that are very scholarly. My character is in his 60s and used to be, kind of still is, a priest. And so yeah, he has a spear and he can use it, and actually had some pretty cool fights in our first session. But my entire job in our second session was getting information with and dealing with a bishop who happened to be visiting. I didn't do any combat whatsoever, and it never felt like I was missing out, or that our GM or that the system had to come up with something to accommodate a player who wasn't the brute squad, which, funny enough, is the name given to pretty much all adversaries in the game.
So those are just a few of our initial thoughts on the system. We've only played 1.5 sessions of it, so we're going to have a lot more thoughts, I'm sure, as we play through it and as we see things that are really cool or things that, you know, don't work as well as some other settings, and we'll be sure to share those with you guys as we find that out.
Absolutely. So it's really great to be back, and we're happy that you're all joining us. Please like, share, subscribe, check out some of our other reaction videos to the other systems that we play, and please stay tuned. We will see you next time on Roll for Initiative.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching, and thanks for all of the love and support and comments that you've been making on Dawn's earlier We're Back video. I'm recently back. I've been pretty busy, and some of the reasons why I've been busy are things that I'm going to be sharing with you. It might not all be game related, but because it's me, it'll probably be somewhat geeky and artsy, and maybe having to do with some of what I do in the theater, or what I do in academics and film or animation or things like that. Or maybe even just something I've been building and working around the house. But I'm really happy to be back, and thanks for watching.